Welcome back to the channel, the ultimate place where coin collectors, treasure seekers, and history enthusiasts come together to uncover the hidden stories behind America's rarest and most valuable coins. Turned an everyday penny into a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. At first glance, the 1985 D penny seems ordinary, a small copper-plated zinc coin bearing the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But beneath its simple design lies a remarkable tale of minting anomalies, rare die varieties, and production quirks that have captured the attention of numismatists and collectors around the globe. The 1985 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which in that decade was producing billions of Lincoln cents per year. The sheer volume of coins meant that minor mistakes often slipped through unnoticed, but once in a while, a coin would emerge that defied all expectations, combining multiple errors in a way so unique that it became almost one of a kind. These errors, once confirmed, can transform a coin's value from mere cents to millions, and in the case of this incredible 1985 D penny, it's the combination of several distinct minting blunders that elevate it to legendary status. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we must first explore the transition period the U.S. Mint was navigating in the 1980s. Just a few years prior, in 1982, the composition of the Lincoln cent changed from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a copper-plated zinc core, an effort to reduce costs as the value of copper soared. However, this change brought along a wave of minting challenges. The new copper plating was thin and often inconsistent, leading to weak strikes, plating bubbles, cracks, and die deterioration. On top of that, when older copper planchets accidentally mixed into the new zinc batches, it created extremely rare transitional errors, coins that shouldn't exist but somehow did. Some experts believe the 1985 D penny in question might have been struck on one of these leftover copper planchets from before 1983, instantly making it a transitional error, a type of mistake that collectors prize above almost anything else. Tests and evaluations suggest that the coin weighs slightly more than the standard 2.5 grams of the zinc-based cents, hinting that it could be one of the rare few made from the heavier 3.1 gram copper alloy, which would place it among the rarest transitional errors known to exist. But that's just the beginning of its mystery. Other error features reportedly present on this coin include a dramatic off-center strike, where the coin's design elements are shifted significantly away from their normal position. Such off-center errors can range from slight misalignments to extreme displacements that leave part of the blank planchet visible. In extreme cases, these are visually stunning and command high prices, especially when both the date and mint mark remain visible, as they do on this 1985 D specimen. Collectors are drawn to such coins not only for their rarity but also for their eye-catching appearance. They tell a story of a moment when the precision of minting briefly faltered, capturing imperfection in metal forever. Another error that reportedly adds to the coin's astronomical value is a double die obverse, meaning that the design elements on the obverse side of the coin, such as the lettering of "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date, 1985, show clear doubling. True double die errors occur during the hubbing process, when the working die itself receives two misaligned impressions from the master hub, resulting in duplicated details that are struck onto every coin produced by that die. These are not to be confused with machine doubling, which is far more common and less valuable. Genuine double die coins like the famous 1955 and 1969 Lincoln cents have fetched enormous sums at auction, and if the 1985 D penny truly exhibits strong, visible doubling, that alone could make it worth tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Add to that the possibility of other anomalies, such as a rotated die strike where the reverse image is slightly misaligned relative to the obverse, or die cracks and cuds, raised lines or lumps of metal caused by die breaks, and you start to see why this single coin could be a masterpiece of minting errors unlike any other. In the 1980s, the Denver Mint was known for high-speed coin production, and while their quality control was generally solid, the immense pressure to meet production quotas sometimes led to mistakes slipping through. The mint's machinery was aging, and minor adjustments could cause misfeeds, clipped planchets, or improperly centered dies. Coins struck under such imperfect conditions often show traits like off-metal errors, broad strikes where the collar fails to contain the metal, or even double strikes where a coin is struck twice by the press. Reports about the 1985 D penny in question suggest that it may exhibit traces of multiple strikes, with slight ghosting of Lincoln's profile visible when viewed under magnification, adding yet another layer of intrigue to its already mysterious profile. Each of these factors contributes not only to its uniqueness but also to its immense value in the collector's market. Auction houses and private collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for verified examples of such coins because their existence challenges our understanding of minting precision and rarity. For a 1985 D penny to be valued at $45 million, it would need to be the perfect storm of errors, an unmatched specimen combining transitional composition, strong double die features, dramatic off-center strike, and possibly other minor die variations that collectively make it a one-of-a-kind treasure. But there's also the emotional and historical component to consider. Coins like this capture moments in history when human oversight and mechanical imperfection intersected during an era of change. The mid-1980s were a time of evolution for American coinage, balancing tradition with technological modernization. Every rare error coin from this period acts as a time capsule, preserving the story of that transformation. Collectors are not just buying metal, they're buying history, mystery, and the thrill of rarity. In the world of numismatics, provenance and verification play huge roles in determining a coin's worth. A coin like the 1985 D penny rumored to be worth $45 million would undergo extensive authentication processes, including metallurgical analysis to confirm its composition, die variety classification, and grading by professional bodies such as PCGS or NGC. The highest possible grade, like mint state 68 or 69, coupled with unique mint errors, can drive a coin's value into the stratosphere. The most valuable coins ever sold, like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, owe their astronomical prices to a combination of rarity, historical significance, and condition. Similarly, if only one example of a 1985 D penny exists with this blend of features, its value could reach unparalleled heights in today's market. Another factor influencing its value is the ever-growing fascination with error coins among modern collectors. Social media platforms and online coin communities have magnified interest in mint errors, with videos of rare coins going viral and sparking waves of new enthusiasts hunting through their pocket change. The mystique surrounding the possibility of finding a multimillion-dollar penny has become a cultural phenomenon, and the 1985 D penny fits perfectly into that narrative. It's a coin that fuels dreams that somewhere in circulation, another like it might still be hiding, waiting to be discovered by a lucky finder. Let's also not overlook the specific quirks of the Denver Mint during that year. Some 1985 D cents exhibit light strikes, die deterioration doubling, and weak reverses, all indicative of overused dies. A few examples even show slight variations in the spacing and shape of the D mint mark, which was still hand-punched onto working dies at that time. If the mint mark itself shows a repunched D, where traces of an earlier strike of the letter are visible beneath the main one, that too could significantly add to the coin's rarity. Repunched mint marks, RPMs, are beloved among collectors, as they showcase an era before modern laser engraving made such human inconsistencies obsolete. Combine that with a double die, and you have a truly spectacular error combination. Over the years, stories have circulated about private collectors and estate auctions where rare 1980s pennies fetched jaw-dropping sums. Some were struck on foreign planchets, like dimes or nickels, resulting in off-metal errors of astonishing rarity. Others bore evidence of die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like impressions of the opposite design. If this 1985 D cent shows any of these traits, like faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appearing behind Lincoln's bust, it would only further justify its astronomical value. The beauty of such coins lies not just in their metal but in their story. Imagine a coin that slipped through quality control unnoticed, entered circulation for a time, and perhaps passed from hand to hand buying gum or a newspaper, until decades later someone recognized its true nature. That's the thrill of coin collecting, realizing that history and fortune can sit quietly in the palm of your hand. Every scratch, every imperfection tells part of the story. And in this case, the imperfections are precisely what make the coin perfect. The market for. Next. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1984 1-cent coin, a simple penny that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and investors around the world because of its staggering estimated value of $22 million. That's right, a single cent, minted over 4 decades ago, has become one of the most sought-after era coins in American numismatic history, and the reasons behind its worth are as intriguing as they are rare. What makes this coin so special? What kind of errors could possibly transform a humble penny into a multimillion-dollar collector's dream? The answers lie in a series of remarkable minting mistakes, microscopic imperfections, and once-in-a-lifetime production anomalies that have turned this 1984 penny into a legendary artifact of U.S. coinage history. Back in 1984, the Lincoln cent was well into its transformation from a primarily copper composition to the copper-plated zinc planchets that had begun in 1982. These changes brought with them an era of inconsistency and experimentation within the U.S. Mint, and as the presses rolled, small errors began to emerge, some too minor to notice, others so spectacular they would later redefine coin collecting itself. The 1984 1-cent coin in question stands out for a variety of reasons, the most famous of which is the double-ear Lincoln error. This is not just a typical doubling mistake, it's one of the clearest, boldest, and most dramatic examples of a double die obverse in modern U.S. minting. On this coin, Abraham Lincoln's ear appears to have been struck twice, producing a visible doubling effect that is noticeable even to the naked eye. This kind of doubling doesn't happen during normal wear or damage, it's created during the hubbing process, when the working die is impressed more than once at slightly misaligned angles. The result is an extra layer of detail that shouldn't exist, and because of that, it's considered one of the most collectible varieties in numismatic circles. But the story of the 1984 penny doesn't end there. Some examples also exhibit slight doubling on Lincoln's eye, his chin, or the letters of Liberty, In God We Trust, and 1984. These variations indicate that multiple dies might have been affected, and that the error wasn't isolated to just one press or shift at the mint. Collectors prize such coins not only for their aesthetic oddity but also for their historical significance. They are tangible evidence of how even the most precise minting system in the world can produce human and mechanical mistakes that slip past inspection and find their way into circulation. Imagine someone in the 1980s receiving this coin as simple change at a gas station or grocery store, unaware that decades later it could be worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even small fortunes. This contrast between the coin's original purpose and its present-day value adds to its mystique. The 1984 double-ear Lincoln cent is one of the most talked-about varieties among coin experts because of how distinct and recognizable its error is. Unlike other double dies that may require magnification to detect, the doubling on this coin is so prominent that it can often be identified without specialized tools. That visual clarity, combined with its limited mintage and the era's transitionary minting challenges, has turned it into a holy grail for error coin hunters. Yet, the reason a specific specimen could fetch as much as $22 million goes beyond just the doubled ear itself. There are reports of a unique 1984 penny discovered under highly unusual conditions, possessing not only the doubled die obverse but also multiple other striking anomalies that collectively make it a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of minting error. These include slight off-center striking, die cracks running across Lincoln's profile, and even planchet anomalies caused by impurities in the zinc core that resulted in minor blistering under the copper plating. Each of these imperfections adds a layer of uniqueness, and when combined, they create a specimen so rare that it's believed to be the only one of its kind in existence. Add to that the coin's immaculate condition, graded potentially at the highest level such as MS 68 or MS 69, and its rarity becomes astronomical. Collectors understand that in numismatics, rarity, demand, and condition combine to determine value, and when those three factors align perfectly, the result can be extraordinary. Beyond physical errors, the 1984 penny also represents a period of transition and experimentation in the U.S. Mint's history, a factor that gives it historical importance. In the early 1980s, when the Mint switched from a 95% copper composition to a copper-plated zinc core to reduce costs, it inadvertently introduced a new set of challenges. The softer zinc base was prone to corrosion, die deterioration, and plating bubbles. These material issues created conditions where errors could occur more easily, including weak strikes, die cracks, and plating flaws. Thus, the 1984 penny is part of a broader narrative about how technological changes and cost-cutting decisions can have unexpected consequences, producing coins that would later be celebrated for their imperfections. Some 1984 pennies even display a faint, ghosting effect on the reverse, where Lincoln's bust subtly shows through due to the thin plating layer, another detail that has fascinated error coin researchers. As collectors began studying these pennies in greater depth, the mystique of the 1984 double-ear penny grew. It became not just a coin, but a symbol of hidden value, the idea that something so small and ordinary could conceal within it a secret worth millions. Over the years, stories have surfaced of people finding one of these coins in old jars, dresser drawers, or pocket change and realizing too late that they had accidentally spent it. Others have been more fortunate, discovering their coins and selling them at prestigious numismatic auctions for significant sums. As with any high-value collectible, provenance and authenticity play a critical role in determining worth. The specific 1984 penny, said to be worth $22 million, reportedly underwent extensive examination by grading authorities, verifying its authenticity, mint origin, and the legitimacy of its errors. High-resolution imaging, metallurgical analysis, and die match verification confirmed that it was not a post-mint alteration but a genuine product of the mint striking process. This level of verification is what transforms an interesting curiosity into a numismatic treasure of unparalleled value. The coin's condition is described as nearly flawless, exhibiting a sharp strike, full luster, and brilliant surfaces devoid of major blemishes, a combination rarely seen in coins from this era, which were primarily used for daily transactions and thus prone to wear. Another factor that amplifies its allure is its mystery. Unlike other major mint errors that have documented production records or traceable origins, the story behind the creation of this specific coin remains largely unknown. Was it a result of a single misaligned hubbing process, or could it have been part of a small batch that slipped through quality control before being discovered? Some experts speculate that it might have been intentionally saved by a mint employee aware of its uniqueness, while others believe it circulated briefly before being plucked from change by an observant collector. Whatever the case, its survival in pristine condition is itself an anomaly. Over time, the legend of this 1984 penny spread through collector circles, online auctions, and numismatic publications. Articles described it as one of the most valuable pennies in the world, sparking renewed interest in searching for similar varieties. This phenomenon, known as penny fever, led thousands of enthusiasts to inspect their spare change with magnifying glasses, hoping to uncover their own multimillion-dollar treasure. The excitement surrounding such finds continues to this day, as stories of life-changing coin discoveries never fail to capture public imagination. But what truly makes this coin so compelling is not just its errors, but what it represents, the unpredictable beauty of imperfection. Every mint error tells a story of machinery slightly misaligned, of a die struck one too many times, of human oversight in a system built on precision. These moments of error create coins that are unlike any other, turning mass-produced objects into unique works of art. The 1984 double-ear penny encapsulates this idea perfectly. Its doubling is so pronounced and its overall preservation so immaculate that it stands as a testament to how the smallest deviations from perfection can yield something extraordinary. It's fascinating to think that this coin, made at a time when a gallon of gas cost about $1.20 and Ronald Reagan was president, could today be worth as much as a fleet of luxury cars or a mansion overlooking the ocean. That kind of value transformation doesn't just happen randomly, it's the result of rarity, condition, and collector passion converging in one remarkable artifact. Even within the world of error coins, the 1984 penny is an outlier. Most doubled die coins, such as the famous 1955 or 1969 Lincoln cents, owe their fame to clear doubling on the date or lettering, but the 1984 coin stands apart because of its dramatic doubling on Lincoln's portrait itself, something far rarer and visually striking. Its artistic error captures attention immediately, which is why collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts to own it. Last. 1983 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary copper-plated zinc penny that's been rumored to be worth an astonishing $18 million because of its mysterious errors, striking mistakes, and the incredible rarity that has left collectors and experts astonished. This is not just about a 1-cent coin, it's about how a simple piece of metal struck in 1983 became a legend that collectors still chase, a story of mistrikes, off-centering, wrong planchets, and transitional design issues that together make this coin one of the most sought-after pennies in history. To understand why this 1983 D penny can be valued so astronomically, we first have to travel back to the early 1980s, a time of major change in the U.S. mint's coin production. Before 1982, U.S. pennies were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, but in 1982, due to skyrocketing copper prices, the mint transitioned to a cheaper planchet made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. This switch, although logical from a cost perspective, introduced a series of production challenges and unexpected minting errors that would echo into the next year's production, including the now famous 1983 Denver minted penny. While 1983 pennies were supposed to be entirely zinc, a few mistakes occurred at the mint, where leftover copper planchets from 1982 were accidentally fed into the presses, resulting in rare transitional error coins. If a 1983 penny was struck on one of these leftover copper planchets, its metal composition alone makes it a once-in-a-lifetime find. Tests with a precise scale show that a zinc penny should weigh about 2.5 grams, while the older copper ones weigh 3.1 grams. Collectors who discover a 1983 penny that tips the scale toward 3.1 grams are holding a potential treasure that could be worth thousands, even millions depending on condition and authentication. But beyond the planchet errors, what makes the 1983 penny story even more fascinating is the possibility of double die errors, die cracks, die clashes, and off-center strikes, all of which have been documented in 1983 coins. The double die obverse, especially where the inscriptions "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" show visible doubling, is one of the most collectible and eye-catching mint errors. This doubling occurs when the die used to strike the coins receives a misaligned impression, resulting in a slightly shifted duplicate image. A strong double die on a 1983 penny dramatically boosts its appeal to collectors because it combines visual uniqueness with historical intrigue. Some specimens show light doubling on the date or lettering, and these have fetched thousands at auction even without additional errors. But the holy grail of 1983 pennies would be one with multiple overlapping errors, say, a transitional copper planchet paired with a double die obverse and struck slightly off-center or showing die cracks forming fascinating patterns across Lincoln's face or the reverse memorial design. Imagine finding a coin like that in your change or tucked away in a forgotten jar. It would be like discovering buried treasure hiding in plain sight. Another interesting element that adds mystery to the 1983 penny is the quality of the minting that year. The Denver Mint was known for producing massive quantities, over 6 billion pennies in 1983 alone, but mass production often means a higher chance of striking errors slipping through quality control. The dies wore down faster, and small imperfections multiplied, leading to tiny cracks or extra metal from die deterioration known as die chips. Some 1983 pennies feature large die breaks that collectors affectionately call cuds, where parts of the design appear missing because a piece of the die broke off. These can sometimes take on strange shapes that make them even more collectible. For instance, a cut appearing near Lincoln's bust or the date might make the coin unique enough to attract strong bidding at auctions. Then there are the dramatic strike-through errors, where a piece of foreign material like grease, wire, or even another coin fragment accidentally gets between the planchet and the die during striking, leaving behind ghostly impressions or missing areas in the design. These rare and eye-catching strike-throughs from 1983 pennies create coins that are one-of-a-kind, sometimes appearing as though Lincoln's portrait is fading away or distorted in surreal ways. Coin enthusiasts and error collectors prize these pieces because they tell a tangible story of something that happened during the minting process, a fleeting mechanical mistake frozen forever in metal. And while it might seem impossible for a penny to be valued at $18 million, consider how the combination of extreme rarity, unique historical timing, and collector frenzy can push a coin's perceived worth to astronomical heights. Just as the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die penny have reached legendary status and sold for mind-blowing amounts, a flawless 1983 penny with multiple rare errors, especially if struck on a copper planchet, could become one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever known. The coin market thrives on stories, and the 1983 penny has all the ingredients of a perfect numismatic storm: a major transition in composition, a mint known for high-volume production errors, and the undeniable allure of finding an extraordinary coin in the most ordinary of places. There have even been reports of 1983 pennies showing off-center strikes of more than 10% or coins struck on foreign planchets meant for other denominations or even other countries' coins. When such bizarre minting events happen, the results are coins that defy expectations, lightweight or overweight, different colors, slightly larger or smaller diameters, and sometimes showing a mix of features from multiple coin designs. For example, a 1983 D penny struck on a dime planchet would appear thinner and have a silvery hue, instantly recognizable to any collector as an incredible mint blunder. These wrong planchet strikes are among the rarest and most exciting finds, and examples authenticated by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC have fetched eye-watering sums. Another category of collectible 1983 D pennies includes those with partial collars or misaligned dies. These create a distinctive railroad rim effect, where one edge of the coin appears thicker or slightly raised compared to the other side. This happens when the planchet isn't perfectly seated in the collar during striking, producing a quirky, eye-catching rim anomaly. To the untrained eye, it might look like a simple minting defect, but to a serious collector, it's a minting marvel, a fingerprint of the chaotic precision behind U.S. coin production. When you add up all these factors, the rare compositions, the doubled dies, the cuds, the strike-throughs, the off-centers, the misaligned dies, you begin to understand how the legend of the $18 million penny began. It's a combination of verifiable numismatic value and the powerful human imagination that turns certain coins into symbols of luck, rarity, and financial dreams. Think about the odds of finding one among billions. It's like winning a small lottery, which adds to the allure. And while some stories may exaggerate the actual dollar amounts, the fascination they create fuels the hobby of coin hunting itself. The 1983 D penny also represents a turning point in Lincoln cent history because of the technical challenges of plating zinc with copper. The early zinc pennies were prone to bubbling, corrosion, and delamination, where the thin copper layer could separate or flake off, exposing the grayish zinc underneath. These plating errors, while unattractive to some, are fascinating from a minting standpoint and highly collectible in severe cases. A 1983 D penny showing large exposed zinc areas or partial missing copper layers can be extremely rare and valuable depending on severity and eye appeal. The rarity multiplies when these plating errors appear alongside other mistakes such as die cracks or off-center strikes. Furthermore, there have been instances where a 1983 D penny shows a mirror-like proof-like finish or unusually sharp strike, suggesting it might have been struck from new dies or under higher pressure than normal circulation coins. These proof-like business strikes can catch the light beautifully, and though not official proofs, they draw attention for their visual brilliance and rarity. High-grade specimens graded MS68 or above are already worth hundreds or thousands, and if coupled with any error, they could soar into unimaginable territory, driving the mythic multimillion-dollar valuations we hear about. Many numismatists also discuss the intriguing case of the 1983 double die reverse coin, primarily known from the Philadelphia Mint, but speculation exists that a few Denver minted examples might also have faint doubling on the reverse lettering or columns of the Lincoln Memorial. If a confirmed 1983 D double die reverse were to appear, authenticated and certified, it would instantly become one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever known. Add a transitional composition, and its theoretical auction price could very well justify the staggering figure of $18 million under the right hype and collector bidding war. Beyond the technical errors, part of what makes the 1983 D penny so captivating is its accessibility. It's a modern coin, only a few decades old, still potentially hiding in circulation, and yet it carries a story worthy of a museum artifact.